Okay, Mom, what's the most anxiety-inducing part of travel?
Hands down, the airport security line. My heart races, my eyes start to dart around, I sweat a little, I start to look like the very criminal that I'm trying to prove to them that I'm not.
We have 5 ideas to help airport security go a little bit more smoothly, and 1 bonus tip for helping to put it all into perspective.
Our first tip is to make heavy use of clear Ziploc bags. You can use these to pack your unmentionables, your medication, your toiletries, your underwear, anything that you don't want on public view. My mom and dad just came for a visit, and for whatever reason, they decided that they needed to take a close look at my mom's carry-on, which she had all of her clothes in. They spread everything out on the conveyor belt, underwear, the whole 9 yards, and he poked around through it. The embarrassing part was bad enough, but my mom was concerned because he'd been wearing the same gloves that he was using to paw through her underclothes for who knows how many bags before her. So if you put them in Ziploc bags, that doesn't guarantee that they're not going to make you empty the Ziploc bag also, but it helps because if they can see through it and see what's in it, you might not have to unfold and dump everything out.
When you're packing your bags, make sure to watch for weird shapes or shapes that look like something else, like this deck of cards, which on a scanner looks like a juice box. We were on a family vacation and this was in one of our bags, and they scanned it and they were like, oh, that has liquid in it, so they wanted to confiscate it, but it was at the very bottom of the bag, so they had to take everything out and pull out the offending juice box or deck of cards. So then they leave you to have to unpack all your stuff back in your bag. So we had to go through that whole process for a stupid deck of cards.
My sister in Arizona bought some cool new light globes, and to make room in her bag and to keep them from breaking, she stuffed them full of clothes. Well, on the scanner, they had a very distinct bomb shape to them. So she actually got taken back into a private room where she had to unpack her whole bag, and it was very disconcerting. So I guess you need to think like a smuggler and ask yourself, does this item look like something else or something dangerous? Our third tip is to dress right. Dress for security. You're going to have to strip down to the most minimal layer. So if you are wearing a jacket and underneath you have some kind of a tank top that you never meant to be in public view, maybe your underclothes are showing through, it's tighter than you would normally want to wear with about 1,000 people watching, anything like that, you need to think about that ahead of time because they're not going to let you keep the outerwear layer on. You will have to take it off.
And if you travel often, you might find that they scan you and you beep on the scanner in the same area every travel experience. I have different places that don't have any metal in my body, but they always beep in those specific areas, and one of them is on the side of my leg. And so I stopped wearing dresses through airport security because they would either pull me into a room, or I'd usually have leggings on anyways, but I'd have to pull up my dress so that they can scan inside and outside of your legs to make sure that you aren't hiding any metal or knives or who knows what else I could have been hiding there. So just be aware that they'll either in the US, they'll pull you into a side room if you want to do the check, or you can do it right there. They'll do the wand, which can be a little embarrassing if they're asking you to strip down more layers. That's not guaranteed in other countries, and it also doesn't. They aren't going to hurry, so you could miss your flight if you're on a time crunch. So just avoiding the whole circumstance to begin with by dressing in as simple clothes as possible.
My most frustrating security story is the time that I bought 8 ounces of cream cheese at Walmart on the way to boarding a plane in Hawaii. We had bagels. I was planning to feed the kids bagels and cream cheese for lunch. The security woman saw this in my bag, took it out, said sorry, tossed it over her shoulder into the garbage can, and I said, "That's my baby's food." She's like, "Don't care." I was extremely upset. How about you? I know you have an embarrassing security story.
Well, we were on a trip to somewhere, and fiber artist that I am, even at the age of probably like 12, I didn't realize that knitting needles could be turned into a weapon. Not that we did, but they look like a weapon on the scanners, and they confiscated my knitting needles, which was a sad day.
In her defense, they weren't quite this dramatic and big.
Yeah, I think they were like this long.
Yeah. So we had checked bags, so her dad did a sprint back to the bag check and was able to get all of her precious knitting needles into her bag. But yeah, we were like, what? What were you thinking?
What 12-year-old, I guess some 12-year-olds would look at knitting needles and think of them as a weapon. But I was thinking, I'm just going to work on my craft project.
She never did it again, though. And I think you were mostly mad because then you couldn't knit on the airplane.
Yeah, I wanted to knit on the airplane. That's the reason they were in there.
So we'd love to hear what's the craziest thing you had taken away in the airport security line. Leave us a comment and tell us so that we can all commiserate together.
Along the same lines of what you're wearing, think about the items you're accessorizing with. Belts with heavy buckles, or pretty much any belt at all, because it's such a heavy piece around your waist, you'll need to remove in order for the scanner to scan correctly. So you'll have to take belts off and put them into the bin before you walk through the scanner. Also, any sort of heavy jewelry or jewelry at all, like these.
That's quite the necklace.
Yes. Gaudy pieces like this. And even anything a little bit simpler can set off the machine. So just be aware what you're putting on in the morning. Having earrings or necklaces, rings sometimes, and bracelets, anything like that can set off the scanner, and they'll make you go back through, put your stuff in a bin, and then walk through the scanner again, which is not a big deal unless you're late for a flight or it's just a hassle. So just not wearing it at all is a good start.
Another tip to keep things running smoothly as you go through security is to designate a place in your suitcase for everything that you need in the security line. So you want to have a place for your ID and your boarding pass and your passport if it's an international trip. Make sure that you know exactly where you've stashed your toiletry bag that you're going to pull out and put into the bin. Electronics usually have to go into the bin, so I like to keep my separate camera, any cords, everything in a bin, whether you need to take them out or not. If they're in a baggie and you can just set them in the bin that they give you, it will save so many problems. So knowing exactly where those are in your bag so that you can quickly do your business and then put everything back at the end will save you a lot of frustration. Our bonus tip is a mindset thing. Check your attitude. Go into security in a good mood, be friendly, smile, treat the people with kindness. They're just doing their job. They're actually trying to protect us, and they don't make the rules. Now, this may or may not matter to them. I've noticed that no matter how friendly I am, they still tend to have a face of stone and don't respond to me. But at the end of the day, I get the righteous reward of knowing that I did the right thing.
And if you've ever worked in any sort of service position, you know that even one smiling face can make a huge difference in a sea of stress and frustration, and people are mad at them all the time. So they might not acknowledge it, but it's going to make their day a little bit better because you are one less stressed out person freaking out at them for doing their job and protecting us.
Strategically use clear Ziploc bags. Think like a smuggler. Dress to be exposed. Be an accessory minimalist, and designate a place in your bag for everything that you're going to need to have your hands on during the security check.
Whatever your airport security experience, just chalk it up as part of the adventure, and know that you'll have a great story to share with your family and friends.
Be sure to subscribe because every Thursday we'll be sharing more great travel tips.
Thanks for watching, and happy travels.